Flat earthers of Reddit, what originally got you into the conspiracy, and what caused you to leave? It a lot of top level comments who are not flat earthers. Because if only people who fulfilled the criteria chimed in, there'd be a dozen people pretending for karma and maybe one honest person responding. Maybe. Born into a family wrought with bad irresponsible parenting, then the concave earth theory. Concave earth theory is my favorite. It has to be a joke. My favorite is hollow earth. It's pretty metal. There are no flat earthers, because it's not about evidence for them. It's about being part of a club. People can leave clubs. I was part of a fancy mask club until Tom Cruise came along and ruined it. First rule of fancy mask club is you do not talk about fancy mask club. Interesting choice to make a Fight Club reference. It was a great dual reference, really. I mean, that logic follows in Eyes Wide Shut too. Fidelio. Have you not seen Eyes Wide Shut? Op, you should repost this with a serious tag. I'd be interested to read the real replies. I considered it, but I feel like it would become a cesspool of flat earthers and flat earthers. I thought surfing through the memes alongside the semi-serious replies would be a bit more fun. We'll consider it though. I'm just here to read the replies. Sips coffee in the meantime. Hi gentlemen, I brought donuts. So, what you're saying is that the earth is actually donut shaped? Speaking from a topological standpoint, yes. I don't think so. Humans and coffee mugs are donuts. Earth is a cow. I thought it was banana shaped. This new learning amazes me. Sir Bedivere, explain to me again how sheep's bladders may be employed to prevent earthquakes. I used to be really into conspiracy theories, and a big part of the hook that people don't see is that it's an ego trip. You think you know things that others don't, and it makes you feel smarter, special or superior. It makes you feel good to feed the ego. It takes a bit of self-reflection and a slice of humble pie to figure out your motivations for believing something. This explains my brother's affinity for conspiracy theories perfectly. He's definitely insecure about his intelligence. It all makes so much sense now. This also explains my affinity for conspiracy theories. The mail got hit with your comment. Yup, you hit the nail on the head. You literally just described my teen years. Nobody will truthfully answer this, because no one is a flat earther. People who claim to be are trolling you and enjoy the attention, like this. You're ignoring the idiot factor. It started as a joke, and then capitalism happened, so now you got charlatans selling flat earth merchandise to idiots. There are folks who actually believe this is true. This is what naive folks tell themselves, because the alternative is to acknowledge that there are willfully ignorant people who vote and influence lives in all sorts of ways. Or for some of them, that mental illness goes untreated on a daily basis because of a combination of messed up social contracts and it being a taboo subject. Fear all trolls is a comforting blanket, but plugging your ears and covering your eyes isn't traditionally that effective a way of dealing with uncomfortable truths. I was 5, and I didn't learn of the earth yet. But then Christopher Columbus sailed around it and didn't fall off, so from then on everyone agreed it must be round. Where is your historical accuracy? He did fall off the edge. That's why he isn't around anymore. That's a myth that originated in a book, The Voyages of Christopher Columbus, a historical fiction novel popular in the 1700s and 1800s. Also 1492 is the same year they invented the globe. Oh, so that book was the culprit. I have been wondering for the longest time why that myth popped up. When legend is more popular than fact, print the legend. Does anyone know if donut earth theory, aka hollow earth theory? Calling it a theory makes it seem like it has any scientific basis. It is a hypothesis with no real arguments. My 4-dimensional cube earth model has more scientific validity than any of your so-called experts and ever traitaints were. I personally think the earth is a D20. To my mind, a hypothesis is a scientific term, and for something to qualify, it must be scientifically testable, which means it must be falsifiable. The claim that the earth is flat doesn't seem to be falsifiable, which means it's not even a hypothesis. It's just dogma. What got me in? The fact that the Titanic wasn't curved. What got me out? The fact that rainbows aren't straight. Why would the Titanic have to be curved? Because they choose not to understand scale. They think if the world is curved then the curve has to be pronounced enough to actually be visible, when in reality the world is massive beyond their comprehension. You curve the Titanic to match the curve of the planet, so it can ride level? You curve the Titanic to match the curve of the planet, so it can ride level? Of course, otherwise it would sink. I was a flat earther until I discovered timecube.com, now mirrored at. Reminds me of Jesus. Just read through part of that website. You can see the reptilians via mating, using hallucinogenic drugs, and sleep paralysis. However, these are the fourth dimensional reptilians, not the third dimensional ones, but more on all of this later. I kept going out of entertainment and curiosity till I got to the point where he tries to explain how the sun is a cube. Finally lost it. Too many jumps and logic for me. I just watched a YouTube video about that this weekend. I was slightly too young for it, but my husband remembered it. Is that from the side of a Dr. Bronner's soap bottle? To anyone here who genuinely believes that the earth is flat, here's some live footage from the International Space Station. Have fun. You idiot, have you ever been there yourself? This is made up by NASA. I really hope all flat earthers get into a plane and fly to the so-called edge and see that there is no end but stop. No pilot is a flat earther. I wonder why. No ex-flat earthers, because it's not about evidence for them. It's about being part of a club. In my personal experience with the moral, it's usually the religious fanatics who cite the four corners of the world type stories in the Bible. Do they get confused when someone comes down to see them, or isn't from this neck of the woods or any other folksy saying about geography? They have a way of contorting evidence into a false notion of a theory, so technically any argument you make, they see as more proof for their argument, and then think you are the one who is clueless. I was convinced by the superior cat earth theory. I guess they all just came around in the end. When the flat earth Twitter tweeted that there was believers all over the globe. What's the kind of Christian that thinks the world is 6k years old? I went to school with geologists who believed that. Young earth creationists is the term, I think. Yeah, I was just spassin creationists. Haha, thanks. I had been raised with no awareness that the earth was spherical. This continued for many years, until I learned in second grade that Columbus discovered that the earth wasn't flat when he sailed the ocean blue in 1492. You'd imagine that this would be the end of the story, but then I learned that this was fake news in 10th grade when we discussed the fact that it is commonly believed that Pythagoras figured this out in 500 BC. The arguments I've had with flat earthers usually devolve into agreeing that we both haven't seen the earth from space, so we can't prove anything we are saying. I compare it to an argument I made up where I try to convince people that owls aren't birds. Flat earthers refer to a logical fallacy. The logical fallacy states that there being no evidence of something not existing means it does exist, but it can be turned against them by saying that there is no evidence that it does exist. Also, they don't listen to reasoning of scale. But don't flat earthers claim the earth is flat? If they just say we can't prove it's round, why do they assume it's flat? With a lack of evidence we might as well say the earth is a pretzel. Exactly why a logical fallacy shouldn't work, but it does for some reason. Just goes to show how flawed the human mind is. If I'd ever been a flat earther I'd never admit to having been that dumb. Never. Eventually it became too obvious that we instead live on a halo-esque ring. It no actual ex-flat earthers. When I figured out that the earth is spherical. When I was a kid there was a good period that I thought the earth was flat, because all the maps they show you are square and my brain just couldn't understand. When I saw a globe for the first time though everything clicked and made so much more sense. If other planets are roundish, why would Earth not be too? Don't tell me flat earthers are going to start believing the whole solar system is flat. I don't know if it fits, but EWA go. My mum and dad started looking on videos of flat earth stuff and things like that. So then they told me, and I don't really care about it. Bro, I came here to see some retarded people talk about how the earth is flat and now I'm kinda disappointed because only smart people are here. I joined as a joke and left to find the truth that Earth doesn't exist. I was at a bar over the weekend and I overheard this flat earther explain his beliefs to some guy he was sitting with. He was very convincing, and his arguments actually made sense if you lacked even a rudimentary education in science and no critical thinking skills whatsoever. It was truly amazing to listen to.